endoplasmic reticulum. We're just going to call it the ER for short. So let's start our tour.
So what exactly is this thing? Well, the official definition calls it a vast network of sacs and tubules, but I want you to picture something more like an intricate, folded, three-dimensional labyrinth that just winds its way all throughout the cell. It's not just one little part, it's a massive, interconnected system. To really wrap our heads around how this factory works, we kind of have to look at its blueprint. How is this incredible network even built?
We can basically break its architecture down into three main parts. First up, you've got the cisternae. These are the stacked, flattened sacs. Just think of those as the main factory floors where all the work gets done. Then, connecting everything, you have the tubules, which are like the hallways and conveyor belts of the operation. And finally, you see these little vesicles butting off? Those are the factory shipping containers, getting ready to transport the finished goods.
But the ER is so much more than just a production line. It's also like the cell's internal scaffolding, giving it actual mechanical support. And here's a really crucial detail. It is physically connected to the nuclear membrane. That's the outer wall of the cell's main office, the nucleus. This creates a direct pipeline for information, so the instructions for making proteins can go straight from headquarters to the factory floor. It's an incredibly efficient setup.
Now, our factory isn't just one big, open space. Oh no, it's divided into two highly specialized departments, and each one has a totally distinct look and a very, very different job to do.
So let's compare them. You've got the rough ER, or RER, which gets its name because its surface is covered with these tiny little machines called ribosomes. It makes it look rough under a microscope. Its main gig? Building proteins, all day, every day. It's so distinctive it even has an older scientific name, ergastoplasm. Then you have the smooth ER, or SER, no ribosomes, which gives it a, you guessed it, smooth surface. This part is more of a specialized workshop, handling things like making fats and, super importantly, detoxifying the cell.
Okay, so we know the layout. Now, let's get to the main event. What does this production powerhouse actually do? What's happening on the factory floor? And to put it simply, this isn't some minor department we're talking about. The ER is the absolute central hub. It's the primary factory floor where the cell's most vital products are made and processed right from start to finish.
So let's follow the assembly line in the rough ER. First, the ribosomes get the blueprints from the nucleus. Then, they start assembling a chain of amino acids, and they thread this new protein directly inside the ER. Now, this next step is quality control, and it's absolutely critical. Inside the ER, the protein gets folded into its precise, functional 3D shape. If this goes wrong, it's a huge problem. In diseases like cystic fibrosis, it's a single misfolded protein that causes this whole cascade of issues. But when it's done right, when it passes inspection, it's packaged into a vesicle and shipped out. Okay, now let's pop over to the Smooth ER's workshop. Its main job is making lipids. That's a whole family of molecules like fats, steroids, and cholesterol, which are the building blocks for all the cell's membranes. It also helps manage the energy we get from carbs, and, maybe most importantly, it's the cell's detox center. It neutralizes poisons and drugs. And on top of all that, its massive network acts like an internal highway system for moving stuff all around the cell. And the ER is super adaptable. For example, in your muscle cells, there's a highly modified version of the smooth ER called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And its one very specific, very important job is to store and release calcium ions. Why? To trigger every single one of your muscle contractions. It's a perfect example of the ER specializing for unique tasks. And get this, the ER doesn't just make products for the cell, it helps build other parts of the cell's machinery. It's directly involved in forming brand new organelles, like the Golgi apparatus. So in a way, it's a factory that builds other factories. It's just fundamental to the whole operation. So let's zoom out for a second. We've seen the blueprint, we've toured the production lines, but what does it all add up to? Why is this network so completely and totally essential for life? Just look at this number. In a lot of your cells, the membrane of the endoplasmic reticulum alone makes up more than half of the total membrane in the entire cell. Let that sink in. That one statistic tells you just how dominant and central this structure really is. It isn't just a small part of the cell. In many ways, it is the cell's interior landscape. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, from building the proteins that literally make you, to creating essential fats, to cleaning house and detoxifying your system, the endoplasmic reticulum is the cell's tireless, absolutely indispensable operational hub. Without it, the cell just stops.
And that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing question. This factory runs perfectly, 24/7, with no central command, no CEO, no management team telling it what to do. So what's the secret to its silent, perfect, microscopic organization? Now that is something to think about. Thanks for joining me.